Welcome back for part two. Obviously, if you've been following along, we have worked through kind of part one so far. And now we're looking at part two. We're going to put everything together. So that's what it says, putting it all together. Sorry for my little doodle here. I get sidetracked. All right, let's put everything together. So in part one, we broke it up by slope and y-intercept. And we found those two separate. Now we're going to find them together on the same, we're going to use the same table to put it all together. So if we remember, slope was rise over run, which is y over x. So we need to find our change in y first. I notice we're counting up here, so I'm going to do plus, plus, plus. And we have to find our pattern. Again, we can find our pattern, or we can take any two numbers as long as there's one above it. So I'm going to take 20, and I'm going to subtract the number above it, which is 10, and get 10. So I know I'm adding by 10s here. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 10 is 30, plus 10 is 40, plus 10 is 50. So I know my change in y is 10. Now I got to look at my x's. We have -3 to 0, or we can work with 0 to 3. I like to work with 0 to 3 because anything 0 to whatever is going to be that number. So we know we're adding. In this case, we're adding 3. So I can do plus 3 all the way down. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9. And if we work backwards, we would know this is -3. It would get us -3. So -3 plus 3 would be 0. Or we can do the same thing. I'm going to use 9 minus 6 would give me a 3. Therefore, my slope is 10 over 3. I do a quick check. I divide 10 divided by 3. And I see that gets me a decimal. So I know my slope is simplified at 10 over 3. So that was slope. I should have done that in a color, but that's all right. Now we need to find y-intercept. Remember, to find y-intercept, when x equals 0, y equals our y-intercept. So in this case, our y-intercept, we have to look for our x in our 0, or a 0 in our x column, which we have one here. We have to just go ahead and look for its pair. So in this case, 0, if I look straight across, I see 0 is paired with 20. And I'm going to write 0, 20. So my y-intercept is 0, comma, 20. So now I've got a slope of 10 over 3 and a y-intercept of 0 over 20. Now I want our equation. So what we've been working with the whole time, remember, y equals mx plus b. M is our slope, b is our y-intercept, and we're just going to plug in what we found. So we're going to have y equals, we need our slope, which we found was 10 over 3. Remember, slope always has x with it, so I'm going to put my x, plus, now I need my y-intercept. This can get tricky because we don't write our y-intercepts with parentheses and commas like that in our equation. For our y-intercept, all we want is our y value. So again, we had our x value of 0, our y value of 20. So all we want is that y value of 20, so it'll be plus 20. So when I put that all together, I get y equals 10x plus 20. So again, that was both steps. We found our slope, we found our y-intercept, and then we threw it all together to get y equals 10x, or 10 over 3x plus 20. So that is all the second step is. I will go ahead and do another example. Let me find, I don't want to do that one. Let's do this one here. So again, we want to find our slope, and we want to find our y-intercept. And I'm going to color coordinate these this time. Hopefully I got a pin color close to it. I'll use light blue. Hopefully we can see this. So slope, again, we want our rise over run, or y over x. So we got to look at our y's. How do I get from 13 to 11? So the first thing, am I counting up or am I counting down? I notice we're going to be counting down, so I'm going to go ahead and put a minus. And let's go ahead and problem solve. So I'm going to take any number. Let's use our 11. So 11 minus 13, because we subtract the number above it, would give me a -2. So I know I'm counting down by 2's. So 11 minus 2 would be 9, minus 2 would be 7, minus 2 would be 5. So I know in my y's, I'm going to put -2. Now we have to look at my x's. X's are a little more tricky because we have some negatives and we have some positives. So let's go ahead and look. Let's use our method again. I'm going to pick -4 and -8 this time. Again, I'm going to start with my bottom number, so I have -4. And here's where it gets tricky. We're going to have to type in -4 minus -8. I'm going to put that in parentheses just to break up the negatives. In this case, if we type in -4 minus -8, that's going to get us a funky +4. And that's because if we're in the negatives, if we're adding, we're actually getting closer to 0. And you can see it becomes apparent when we're at 0. How do I get from 0 to 4? We would be adding 4. So I can go ahead and plug that in. And I get a slope of -2/4. So that was my slope. I'm going to use this awful green color for my y-intercept. Y-intercept again, x equals 0, y equals the y-intercept. So our y-intercept for this one, we need to find a 0. I see one here. We find our pair, which is straight across. In this case, it's 0, 7. So I know my y-intercept is 0, 7. Last but not least, I'm going to put it all together. We have y equals mx plus b. We know our y equals, we need our slope, which is -2/4. Put our x, plus we need our y-intercept. And again, remember, I'm not going to use that highlighter color. We just want our y value, which in this case was that 7, seen here, because we have our x and our y. So plus 7. So I put it all together to get my equation of y equals -2/4x plus 7. So that completes it for part 2. Again, if you want to return back to your document, you have part 2. You have 2 questions like this to answer. Although on your document, I don't give you a place to list your slope and y-intercept. You can just write them below to kind of keep middle note. Okay, my slope is this, my y-intercept is this. And then go ahead and plug in your equation. So again, on your paper, all I ask you is for this, what I just highlighted. But in order to get all of this, you will need to know your slope and y-intercept. So go ahead and just write that underneath, fill that in underneath, and then give me your equation to top things off. Again, always, my email is always open. My Teams is always open. If you have any questions or comments regarding what we're doing, please let me know. If not, I hope you enjoyed these videos, and I will look forward to looking at your submissions for our assignment.